AI for creativity. AI's role in music, art, design, and content creation. We are now diving into the deep, where artificial intelligence intersects with creativity. In this session, we will explore AI's transformative role in music, art, and content creation, highlighting trailblazing tools like DALL-E and also Jukebox, a maestro in generating original tunes. This session is brought to you by Michael Mgbame. So I can see Michael is on the call. So hello, Michael.
Hello. Hi. Hi. Glad to be here. Can you hear me clearly?
Michael, we cannot get you. Kindly check your microphone.
It's working. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, sure. Yes, sure.
Okay.
You're loud and clear.
All right.
Thank you so much. You can introduce yourself, and the stage is yours.
All right. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is
Hello.
Michael Mgbame. I'm currently in the United Kingdom, and I am a data scientist. I've been practicing data science for a couple of years, close to 8 years now. And I'm passionate about data. It's my career, it's what I love to do. And I'm happy to talk about AI's role in creativity today. So without much talk, I'll get straight into the presentation if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So I'll be sharing my screen.
So viewers, continue sending your questions. We will get back to them after the session. Yeah.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So here is my presentation. Okay. So like the topic was introduced, AI for creativity, AI's role in music, art, design, and content creation. The agenda for today's talk is I'll start with the introduction, and then I'll look at the intersection of AI and creativity. I'll talk about AI in visual art, in music, in design, in content creation. Then we'll do a deep dive into DALL-E, where we'll do a quick practical session. And then we'll do the same thing for Jukebox. And then we'll talk briefly about the boundary pushing creations that has been going on lately. And then we'll talk briefly about personalized content. And then I'll conclude with the last slide. All right, so straight into it. Like I mentioned, the introduction, AI in creativity, transforming art, music, and design. With what we know about AI today, in the past couple of years, AI has served as a tool for efficiency, for automation. And this image here, which I'm hovering over, which says AI for efficiency, you can see this image depicts several individuals sitting on their laptop or on their systems, looking at different charts, looking at graphs. Some of these graphs and charts here are AI powered. It helps them take informed decisions. You can see things around predictive analytics where you get to see the charts, the graphs. That's what is happening on AI here in this particular picture. So this goes to show that AI has been a tool for the past couple of years that helps with efficiency in our day-to-day work and help us to automate things that we do. But in the creative space, right, AI is now serving as a partner. On this image on your right, you can see a robot with a brush on a canvas. And the robot is trying to, it has actually painted a picture with different colors here. And that is the role that AI is playing today as a creative partner. You get to have so many tools out there that can help you with the kind of images that you want to draw, with the kind of color palette that you want to make use of. So AI is now helping as a creative partner in terms of art, in terms of music, and in terms of design. So yes, AI is quite important or really important in the world of creativity today. Now, we're going to look at the intersection of AI and creativity. I'll touch on the explanation and then look at a brief description of the history, and then we'll talk about Harold Cohen, one of the pioneers that infused AI and creativity in terms of art. So artificial intelligence is a creative field that refers to the use of machine learning or deep learning algorithms and computational processes to assist, enhance, or create works of art, music, and design. What does this mean in a nutshell? It simply means that the deep learning algorithms we know today, the convolutional neural networks, the artificial neural networks, the LSTMs, the different models that we have today, they've been infused with creativity, and they've been able to come up with different methods of, of, of arts and music. So this is just trying to tell us that AI has been infused with creativity using machine learning and deep learning models or algorithms. Let's look at a brief history of the intersection of AI and creativity. It started as far back as in the 1950s and to the 1970s. That's where it started from. Now, during that time, AI in creativity began with simple computer-generated algorithms that created basic art and music. As time went on, computing power improved, it increased, and then we're now able to improve the way that artists do their work in terms of creating AI generated arts and music. This was possible because of the fact that computing power increased, the RAM size increased for your laptops, the processing speed increased. So the way it was being done before was now improved within the 1980s to the year 2000 because of the advent of the improvement in the technologies that we make use of today. And then we move into the modern era, where we now have the deep learning and the neural networks, whereby images are passed through different neural networks, through different nodes or neurons, and then are trained in order to help assist in creativity in terms of arts, musics, and design, right? And this brings us to one of the pioneers, like I mentioned earlier, Harold Cohen. He developed a tool called Aaron. Now, Harold Cohen is a British-born artist, right? He's known for his creativity. So what he did was he tried to, or rather, he fused AI with generating art, right? And this is his invention. This is like a Canva, like a paper, right? A 3x9 paper. And then this particular tool, which you see here, is a hardware. It's a hardware that has been programmed using the algorithm that Cohen came up with. So what Cohen did was the algorithm he came up with would draw lines on this paper, just lines round and round on this particular Canva. So that was what he came up with. This is like a depiction of his tool or the algorithm he came up with and how it works. It goes around this Canva and draws different kind of images. So this is what Aaron came up with. He came up with a computer program which uses artificial intelligence to generate artworks. This brings us to the next slide, which is AI in visual art. And one of the tools which we'll look at later on is DALL-E. Now, DALL-E is an AI program developed by OpenAI, and it stands out for its ability to generate highly detailed and diverse images from textual descriptions. What I'm trying to say here, which we'll look at practically later, is DALL-E is a tool that takes in your text and then produces an image for you. So this image you're seeing on the left is an image of Mona Lisa dressed as Santa Claus. It was a prompt that was passed into DALL-E. And that was what generated this image. So in a nutshell, AI tools can be seen as collaborators between human beings and the machine learning models that we've come up with. Because in order for this image to be generated, a human being needs to put in the prompt, right? That will generate this particular image. So we see an intersection, we see a relationship between the AI tools that have been developed and the human beings that are going to make use of it. Now, how does this work in terms of data analytics, machine learning in general? It starts with the data collection process and pre-processing. And it involves collecting of images, paintings, and artworks from different artists. Just imagine collecting data on paintings for the past 50 years or 20 years. And then you convert those images into a format that machine learning models can interpret, which is pixel data, right? You know, all the images we see on our screen are basically numbers. Each pixel here has its own number, right? So we convert the images for several years into that format. And then we feed it into the machine learning model, which brings us to the learning patterns and styles. And in order for it to learn, we make use of deep neural networks, like I mentioned earlier. One of the networks that have been making waves in the past couple of years is CNN, the convolutional neural network, right? I will pass the data that has been pre-processed into the convolutional neural network, and then the model is trained to recognize things like color, the composition, the form, and the style. And then there's an output of an image that has been generated. Now, that image that has been generated may not look as the artist may want it to look, right? And then the artist has to do some refinement. And that is where we have the refinement and human collaboration. Now, the artist refines and enhances the AI generated pieces, adding human creativity to the mix, in the sense that after the AI or the model has generated the image, the artist can go further by imputing some other colors or changing the prompts based off what has been generated from the AI. And then that creates a collaborative process in art creation. So this is the role that AI plays in art. There are so many models that we have out there today, but one of the popular ones is DALL-E, which was created by OpenAI, that takes in texts and outputs an image. Now, we come to AI in music, and that brings us to another tool, which we'll look at later again in detail, which is Jukebox. Now, Jukebox is an AI model that generates music, including melodies, rhythms, and lyrics in various styles and genres. Now, looking at this image here, this image of these four people are called the Beatles. For those that are familiar with the Beatles is a music group, right? And recently, they are senior citizens now, because this is like an old picture. But one of the Beatles, Paul McCartney, used AI to extract the late John Lennon's voice from an old demo tape to create what he calls the final Beatles record, right? So Paul McCartney, one of the Beatles, right? He used AI to extract the voice from John Lennon, and then he used it in the current music that's about to come out, right? So that's the role that AI plays in music, in the sense that you can go to music that has been released in the past, for example, Michael Jackson music, take out his voice, infuse it in whatever it is you want to do today, and release your own music. So that's where AI comes in terms of music. You can get really creative with it. I'll be walking through the steps on how it's also done when it comes to music and AI. The first step, as usual, in any AI or artificial or machine learning project or process is to collect your data and pre-process your data. So we'll collect large data sets of music from different genres or different artists. This forms a large knowledge base so that our model can train, because machine learning models can only be as good as the data that you train them on, right? Then the audio files that's been collected rather, is now preprocessed into formats. These are the formats that you can preprocess them into that would help the model to understand and learn. Now, it also makes use of neural networks, right? And it trains the neural networks on preprocessed music data, and then it recognized key elements. You train the different neurons on the neural network, the different nodes. You train them on different elements like the melody. A node can handle a couple of nodes in your neural network, can handle the melody, can handle the harmony, can handle the rhythm, the style, and the emotion. And this now comes up with the learning pattern and the styles in your machine learning model. After the model has learned, the next step, which is step 3, is to generate the tune. Now, after learning the different patterns, it generates an original tune for you that's different based off what the model was trained on. Now, after it has generated the music, or the model has learned and generated the music, you have to also go through the human refinement, like I mentioned earlier, in the art process in terms of AI and art, right? The musician will also need to refine the inputs and then come up with a more enhanced composition. And this is very important because neural network architecture, it allows for sophisticated, complex patterns to learn, in the sense that you can have different layers. You can set up a layer with 50 neurons, 100 neurons, depending on the features that you have from your data set that has been cleaned. This will help train the model very well. And that's why we have the role of neural network here. Now, we talk about AI in design. In design, right, is a very broad field in the sense that design can be designing a cloth, can be designing a picture, can be designing a painting, can be designing anything in general, can be the design of a house. And for this to happen, it starts with understanding and analyzing existing data. Let's assume you want to design the shape of a house or how a house will look. AI models can generate different alternatives based on the criteria that the model has been trained on. For example, like I mentioned, you start with the data collection process. The AI generates its design. It evaluates and refines the design in terms of the aesthetics, the functionalities, and the usability. And then it comes with a final output. Now, this final output still requires a human collaboration, a feedback loop. Because if the output of the design is not is not up to par, you would still need to go back and tweak the parameters or tweak the features that was used in training the model, and this will help improve the final design or the final output. Let's look at an image, or rather, not an image, a house, a 3D house, rather. It's an image though, but this has been done physically, right? This is a 3D printed house that is made entirely from mud, and it is called Tekla, and it took 200 hours to print. For this house to be printed, right, the model must have been trained on several data points, right, and that's what resulted in this particular 3D printed house that was done. So, like I mentioned, just imagine feeding the model with parameters or data points that will make this house when it's being printed not be durable or not to be usable in the grand scheme of things, right? You will still have to go back and tweak those parameters to ensure that whenever this house is printed, or if this house is printed, it's something that a human being can live inside, right? But if you don't tweak the parameters or train the model well, it's going to print out a house that a human being cannot live inside. So this is one way that AI has helped design in terms of building or designing houses that people can live. For example, in Africa, we have mud. Our houses before used to be mud. So just imagine designing a house using an AI model and it prints it out for you this way. It will be very cool, right? So this is one way that AI helps in design. Now we come to content creation, which is making the wave nowadays on different platforms, right? We have content creation for writing, for video production, for virtual reality. For writing, we have tools like ChatGPT, which most people are familiar with. We have Google Bard. These are their logos. We have video production with tools like Synthesia and DALL-E, which I mentioned, which is for generating art. And then we have that for virtual reality, where we have Google's DeepMind and Unity ML agents. Unity ML agents just basically designs a virtual reality for training machine learning agents. So when you're training AI agents, this particular software, Unity ML agent, creates a virtual reality that can help you train agents, machine learning agents or AI agents, right? Intelligent agents. So Unity ML, that's what they do in terms of virtual reality. So these are tools that can help create content. Now we're going to look at Synthesia, right? There's a link here. If you click on this, though, that will take you to the Synthesia website where you can generate AI videos. So Synthesia is an AI video creation platform that enables everyone to create professional videos without mics, cameras, actors, or studios. Just imagine being able to create content that you can put on YouTube or on different platforms just by using Synthesia. So Synthesia is AI-powered video generator. You click on it, on this link here, which is here, you can take you to the page and you see how it actually works. We can also come back to this. Another thing we need to take note of in terms of content creation is what we call deepfakes. Now, deepfakes are synthetic media in which a person in an existing image or video is replaced with someone else using artificial intelligence, particularly what we call generative adversarial networks. It's a deep learning network also, the same way we have convolutional neural networks and artificial neural networks, right? That's what GAN is. It's one of those networks also. It's a neural network. You must have been seeing fake news online, some images of Donald Trump on YouTube, him giving some kind of news, and you think he's the one. He's not the one. This is a video. This looks like Donald Trump currently if you play this YouTube video, but this is not Donald Trump. So this content was created using what we call deep fakes, which like I mentioned earlier, we're going to look at how DALL-E works, which is used in generating art, right, from text. Now, DALL-E, the word DALL-E or the name DALL-E was gotten from two words. One was from Salvador Dali, the renowned Spanish artist that strikes bizarre images. His images are really, really good. You can Google Salvador Dali. And then Wall-E, for those that watch animations and cartoons or movies, this is from one of a movie called Wall-E. Is a Pixar movie about a robot that's known for its curiosity and creativity. So that's how the name DALL-E was brought up about, right? Now, how does DALL-E work? First of all, it has to do with training, yeah? DALL-E it's a pre-trained model. So first of all, DALL-E is trained on a vast data set of images and their corresponding captions. Now, these images enables the AI to learn associations between words and the visual elements that they describe. So first of all, DALL-E has already been trained on so many data sets, and it works with the generative pre-trained model, which is GPT, which we are all familiar with. That's the architecture that it makes use of. And what does it do? It generates image generation. So when you give a text prompt to DALL-E, DALL-E generates an image by predicting the likelihood of each pixel or image component based on the input. Now, it assembles these predictions into a cohesive image. For example, like I showed earlier, you put a prompt, generate a picture of Mona Lisa, and it does. And then you add another prompt to it, Mona Lisa dressed as Santa Claus. DALL-E, what it does, right, it takes that information that you've inputted, works with that text, and based off what it has been trained on, based off the data it has been trained on, it layers the text on top the previous image that has already been created. For example, I created a Mona Lisa image, and then I put another prompt that said, add a Mona Lisa image dressed as Santa Claus. So the model has been trained to give out an image based off the text input. Like I said, you can change the input, and that is where refinement comes in. You can change the input to add more things. I could have as well just put in Mona Lisa dressed as Santa Claus wearing a shade or sunglasses, right? And DALL-E will do that for me. Now, we'll look at the limitations, and then we'll go into a practical session for DALL-E. We'll look at the dependence, and one of the limitations rather is dependence on input, like I mentioned. It depends on the prompt that you put in, that's what will depend on the particular image that has been generated. There are other limitations like ethical restrictions, lack of originality, but so far, let's quickly generate an image using DALL-E. We'll make use of this. So let's do this. Let's do this. Generate an image of Obama dressed as a police officer. Oh, it's giving me the text. So this is trained on DALL-E. So DALL-E works with ChatGPT 4. So like I mentioned, the prompt actually matters. So it's creating the image. While it creates the image, let's quickly run through the slides, right? I think this is the slide we were on before. Let me quickly get back to where we were while that generates for DALL-E. So this is where we were on DALL-E. So this is being generated currently. Another tool that we need to look into is Jukebox. Now, Jukebox is also used to generate what? Music, and is also developed by OpenAI and leverages deep learning techniques. It works with a model called, or an architecture called vector quantized variational autoencoder. This sounds a bit complicated, but basically it compresses audio files into low dimensions and then trains transformers to help train a model to generate audio or sounds. It also works with training data. It has a generative process and it generates things like lyrics and vocals and rhythms. There will also be a practical session on Jukebox. I'll just show the code briefly and the kind of information that can be generated. But these are the impacts that it has had on the music industry. It has the potential to create new music, new experiences, generating endless streams of unique music, which can be monetized. Just imagine generating your own music using AI and putting it on different platforms. I will also touch on the groundbreaking projects. For example, we have AI in films, right? So AI has been used, especially the long short-term memory. This particular neural network, this is a recurrent neural network too. It has been used to generate scripts for AI films, or for films rather, right? And such films has had a lot of impact in the industry. For example, the project of using AI in screenplays, in writing, and in narrative creation, it showcases a new frontier in filmmaking. Just imagine generating scripts for movies using AI and actually having that movie shot. That is what Sunspring is. Sunspring is a movie that was shot by generating the script from AI. We also have it in music, the AI Eurovision contest, whereby AI was used in the contest to generate AI algorithms that were used to create songs. These are two videos. This is the Eurovision contest 2020, whereby the songs on this particular contest were generated using AI. And then we have the Sunspring film. You can take a look at this. It was also generated using AI. Now, one of the things we need to look at is the future of personalized content, which is the last slide we'll be going through today. Now, personalized content refers to media, products, or services that has been uniquely tailored to individuals. And my favorite example is Netflix. If you watch Netflix a lot, you'll notice that there are certain content, certain videos that once you watch a particular movie, that particular genre of movie keeps on being recommended to you. So that is personalized content. Netflix is recommending that video, that movie as a content to you, and it has been personalized based off the information or the data that Netflix has based off the movies that you've watched over a period of time. So personalized content can either be for entertainment, it can be for marketing purposes, it can be for educational purposes. You can have content referred to you based off your interests or what you studied in school or what you want to learn. It can be personalized in terms of design. There are AI tools out there that help with design, that makes the design to be what? Personalized to you. So these are different aspects in which AI has been able to help out in content, in personalized content for entertainment, for marketing, for education, for design. Now, there's an ethical implication, and the ethical implication of analyzing and collecting data for personalized purposes, in the sense that collecting personalized data from people is very important. To market to somebody, you need to collect their information, and that is an ethical implication. And that's why most of these tools will always ask for the permission of the individual making use of their service if they can allow that service to make use of their personalized information to market or to advertise to them. So AI plays a very key role in terms of personalized content, both for marketing, for entertainment, for education, for design, and in other aspects or in different other sectors. So in a nutshell, this is my brief presentation on the intersection or the relationship, or how AI, artificial intelligence, has been able to impact the world of creativity. I believe our image should have finished generating right now. Yeah, so like I said, I just put all it to generate an image using DALL-E. I will need to change the prompt, like I mentioned earlier, refinement. You need to refine this prompt in order for it to give you a more accurate picture or a more accurate image. In terms of DALL-E, for DALL-E to work, I was trying to run this earlier to show, but I ran out of RAM. I had high RAM usage. But what you can do with DALL-E is you can download a wave file. I downloaded an Afrobeat wave file that was uploaded into my Google Drive. You can upload it into your Google Drive, and then you set other parameters. I selected an artist here, Chris Brown. The other artist that you can select from the drop down. This isn't active now. And then you can run all this is the code. I won't be able to run through the code for during this session. But once all these have been selected, once all these have been selected, right, you'll be able to generate a song using these parameters that have been gotten from this code that was
Thank you so much, Michael.
right.
We are out of time, but the session has been super insightful. Actually, I've learned that DALL-E is from DALL-E and Wally. That's something I didn't know about, but I'm glad that you've shared that today. Thank you so much for the session. Because of time, we'll go to our next speaker.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Sorry
Thanks,
about that.
guys. All right. No problem.